Have you noticed how the world feels harsher lately? Not just online, but in everyday life. People jump to the worst assumption, snap without thinking, and grace feels almost extinct. But here's the truth. This isn't entirely new. Human history has always been full of cruelty, selfishness, gossip, and power struggles. Ancient philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Confucius all wrote about how petty and vicious people could be. The difference is that when you were younger, you might have been shielded from it, less exposed to certain environments, or simply seeing less of the bad because news didn't reach you every second of the day. Now, it's different. Social media and constant news coverage bombard you with every cruel word, every failure, every outrage in real time. Online anonymity gives people the courage to say things they'd never say to someone's face. Economic and societal stress magnifies selfishness and greed, so kindness feels like it's in short supply. And as you get older, your perspective shifts. You start seeing manipulation at work, corruption in politics, subtle betrayals, and how often self-interest drives decisions. It's not that these things suddenly started, it's that you're seeing them without the rose-colored glasses now. The emotional toll is real. You're not just noticing what's happening, you're seeing the ripple effects, how meanness and apathy damage communities, families, and individuals. And that weight makes it harder to brush off. Right now, it's not just an online problem, it's bleeding into face-to-face interactions, and several things are fueling it. First, we're all more tense than we realize. Global uncertainty, financial strain, political division, and information overload keep us in a constant low-level fight-or-flight state. When you're that wound up, you don't have patience for grace. You go straight to defense or attack. Second, outrage is contagious. Social media rewards quick, emotional reactions. The hotter the take, the more attention it gets. People practice being reactive online and then carry that habit into real life. Third, empathy takes energy, and most people are running on empty. Burnout makes it harder to step into someone else's perspective. Grace starts to feel like extra work in a world where everyone's just trying to keep their own head above water. And finally, there's been a subtle cultural shift. Kindness used to be the default in public spaces. Now suspicion comes first, and people feel they have to earn kindness rather than expect it. It might feel like we've lost our humanity, but really it's our patience and capacity for empathy that are eroding. The humanity is still there. It's just buried under stress, division, and the habits we've built from living in a reaction-driven world. So how do you live in this without becoming part of the spiral? You slow the reaction cycle. Most people default to meanness because they react too fast. Words fly out before thought catches up. Practice a 3-second pause before you respond, even if it feels awkward. In that pause, ask yourself, am I adding gasoline or water to the fire? Over time, it becomes muscle memory. Second, assume stress before malice. Instead of asking, what's wrong with them? Try, what's happening to them? This shift doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it stops you from absorbing their energy. Third, pick your battles with surgical precision. You don't have to defend every point or correct every rude remark. Save your energy for moments that truly matter to your values. Fourth, become proof that kindness still exists. Hold a door. Give a genuine compliment. Let someone merge in traffic. These tiny acts disrupt the default hostility people have come to expect. Fifth, curate your input. The more toxic news and opinions you absorb, the more hostile the world feels. Use bounded awareness. Know enough to be informed, but not so much that you're marinating in outrage. Balance it with stories of people doing good. Sixth, create soft zones, spaces or relationships where you don't talk about politics, news, or stress. These places remind you that not all of life is conflict. And finally, treat grace like rebellion. In a culture that rewards outrage, patience is radical. You're not showing grace because people deserve it. You're showing it because you refuse to become what you dislike. If you want a tool to help, try the mental shield. Name it, something like the glass dome or the calm cloak. Picture a barrier around you that lets in what's useful and keeps out what's toxic. Anchor it with a physical touch, a ring, a bracelet, or the edge of your phone, and think, shield up. I choose what gets through. At the end of the day, take it off in your mind and leave the day's negativity outside. Pair that with the 3-beat grace technique. First, pause before you pounce. A slow inhale stops you from matching someone's hostility and shifts the power back to you. Second, name or redirect without heat. That's one perspective. Here's how I see it. Or, that felt sharp. Was that your intention? Third, leave the open door. Let's start over. I'd like this to go better. You've kept your dignity and given them the chance to soften. This is how you stay human in a world that's forgetting how. Protect your energy. Respond with intention. And remember, in an age of outrage, grace isn't weakness. Grace is power. Be one of the few brave enough to carry it.